What to do and whom have you been talking to? Guess you like a bambola, cause you do what I told you to.
Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are here with my first 10 comeback. This is Bambola. We are about to look at the music video, but I know a dance visual may be coming down at some point. I sure hope so. Oh man, and 10 is near and dear to the Jess Reacts side of YouTube for sure, because he was our go-to celebration marathon for hitting 10,000 subscribers, and so that's why I feel like we're just gonna ride or die with 10 and forever. So I'm here for this. Also, special shout out before we get started to Manolo. The fact that I have a really crisp, clean voice is because of them, of my microphone. You're going to hear me talk all throughout the analysis. So if you like how I sound, I'll attach a link in the description for you to get one of your own so you too can sound nice and crystal clear. So let's go ahead and get into it. Isn't this the same place? Oh, stop it! You made me interrupt my sentence! It's the same place they shot Standing Next to You live with Jungkook and a lot of Jam Republic people. Oh my god. No, sir! I choose when to stop and when to go, bruh. Oh my god, this dance is gonna be so fun to learn. Wow. If you think you're the one who make it, I'm reaching for your soul. No need to do that. He said. Are those braces? Ah! Wow! This is like a... Wow. Lord, help us all. Wow! That was an acid trip in like the coolest way. The amount of glitching that was taking place. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. Also, I will say this too. I think these become way more fun when I actually know like how old people are. 10 and I are the same age. And so knowing that like we've existed on Earth the same amount of time, I feel like I can really like enjoy what he's doing so much in a different way than like somebody who's really, really young or someone much, much older than me. I think both are cool. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy that. But like hanging out with people that are like the same age as me, I'm like, we're friends. Let's go. I feel like a hype person in that sense. You know what I mean? I started to feel that way with Hoshi and Uzi. I didn't know they were my age until they had a whole track called 96ers. And I was like, well, so I kind of feel like, if anything, I don't mind giving a little extra hoorah to the individuals who are living life on with the same amount of Earth rotations as myself. Oh my god, that was really fun. Yes, we're getting a dance visual, and I am so intrigued by it. Just very simply, I hope it's fixed cam because of so many glitch effects that helped enhance the isolations, right? So all that, and then you did a lot of these wrist fixed points, right? Oh man, I have lots of questions for it, but in like a really, really fun way. And oh man, this was great. I'm so excited for this dance visual when it comes out. The dance practice is here. I'm excited for this. I think out of the 2 tracks, this one is my preference based on how it was shot, but both were incredible. So I can't wait to dive in. Let's go. Yep. Yeah. Ooh. Nice. Hey. A little vibration, okay. Nice. Ah, okay. I was curious how they were gonna do that feel out. Nice. Nice. That section of the music video was really fun. Yeah, ooh, okay. Cool. Cool. Okay, the choruses of this were very, very interesting. I do think preference of overall composition, I really like Stunner, but this one had probably some of the coolest cinematic effects in the dance out of most 10 discographies. Really, really cool. Okay, from the top. Now, I will say this because I know some of you may go to the comments and comment this, but I'm saying it now. I do believe when I said about where they shot this music video, it's actually, it was the Jack Harlow 3D, not standing next to you. So I'm sorry that I was wrong on that. Just want to let you know, I'm aware. I was like, that felt right, but it was shot there. I do remember that. Cool. So from the top, here we go. Looking here in the overall framing of it, you have one of our guys with his eyes covered, and I like that the arms are branched down in front. You have 10 standing up in center, ready for us to see him, and then you have angles that frame him there. So that looks great. And I also like the contrast. Good vibration. I would say you can tell those who've trained in vibrations and those who haven't, because you're going to see a way more aggressive shake. Yes, somebody can argue that it's to make it look more full so we can read further. But if you have
a good vibration technique and locked and loaded, you're gonna be able to do that. So that's just a little note there, but it still gets the visual across mighty fine. And I do like the fact that you have a contrasting colors in the fits between the stunner dance practice and the Bambola dance practice. I like it. It shows the versatility. I like the branching, good threads on that. Have your ladies, they took their arms up and over, definitely like a, what is that, like a Red Rover vibe, love it. And then I like that you had your guys intermingle through it. 10 is nice and in the center again. I like that they took it with their arms here and then they boom, busted out of it like he busted out of a cage. Really cool. You can't fool me. We have our weight right there on those heels as we rotate those legs out, and a lot of these little uppercut motions there. It gives a heavy Weedham boy pocket, so I could see them entertain this kind of vibe, or definitely somebody like Yumiki from 1 Mil. I could see pull this kind of vibe. I have known that 10 has done stuff with Yumiki before, hence why I bring him to the conversation. Anyway, the step outs are fine. And then a little personality coming out of that, meaning that he's like, and I did interrupt what he was about to do here, which is a more like, it's a body roll. He brings it through and over to the side. So he brings it down and then he travels it up to his left side to have it connect to one of our dancers and on the shoulder. I like the reach outs from everybody else. And then it ended up having one of your dancers go do-do-do, and it triggered 10's head to redirect to another side. That was cool. Normally you see 10 be the one that directs the dancer, but having them control him was a nice reversal. Definitely not as predictable. Now here you have your ladies like, oh, what's up? And he goes up, come on now, Fupid, have your arms cross and up, cross and out, and then we take our leg extended out, and then he goes, my God, and I like how we melt into it after. And also it shows 10's versatility working with male dancers and female dancers. I prefer artists that work with both because it's both style of dancers contribute and bring different essences to the table, which is really cool. So they drop down. I like how he says up, everybody drop down. They go, oh my God, I'm too lit. So they drop, little bounce down and up, and then we're all building our arms, entering with the guys coming from the outside to in. Ladies go inside to out. 10, of course, stays center. And it goes click, click. That was cool, where you have your girls go down, ding, ding, guys go up, up, and then you have the tweet, tweet, little sound, and then they do elbow to elbow wave. Pretty readable there. I love that choice here, that whole situation. It broke off. It was an add-on, but like more sporadic, right? Where you have your ladies join and then they break off and it was your guys. And then he kept, this arm is a fixed point. If you don't know what a fixed point is, it is a part of your, a lot of times in context of, you'd see it with tutting, you see it with waving, you see it with a lot of the boogalooing kind of genre of movement where you are fixed in a particular place and you are moving around, giving the illusion that it is stuck there. And so you see this hand, that is the gimmick of this, of what makes it all sellable, is he's using a shoulder ISO in order to make these choices look as big as they are in order to keep this locked where it is. Really cool. So I love that entire thing and how it is technically the same, but you see how 10 utilizes the dancers in a different way in the first course versus the second. So that's really cool. So talking about what's going on specifically here, that click, click, yep. So all that there, you notice they dropped down, they stayed down, and the guys join in there, and then they bring it through. They take the chest and they have a nice folded hand, so it looks more full. Because if you didn't have this hand here, you wouldn't actually know or see how far that chest is moving. So I'm telling you, just like with traces, you can have a trace give the illusion that it's controlling your energy as it travels through your body. Having a kind of like a pinpoint, right? Or like a marker, I would call it more so that. Having that in place allows somebody to have a reference point to see how far in or out or your range on a choice is. So I really like seeing that here. Really cool. And you still have the opposition of the ladies and the guys. And what's nice is it does cause a natural separation of 10 without him having to deviate too much. He's doing all the choreo. I love it. And now I like how this is more of a broken like wrist ISO where he hits it, fixed point on the fingers to switch off, right? So all that, I mess with that hard. That's awesome. And I like that we're letting our head complement that too. Really cool. And they end up glitching it twice to the side, hinge it around, and then they end up doing this little, it's like another vibration, reverb based movement right here in the bottom, but it's folded over. So it kind of marries the very beginning with this course quite well. It's a good fingerprint, right? Repackage per se. And I like that he deviated from the dancers and he ended up taking his arms it like reverbs it, but not really. Not the same way as like a low-key shaking vibration you're seeing your dancers do. He's hitting it over and pointing. He's communicating, meaning he has that talking too. Such a gimmick. Then we bring it back and then we knock the leg. Now this definitely gives, if you've known the genre Amapiano, now that is not a dance style. There are dance movements or viral sequences or movement structures that have been, you know, popularized under that genre of music. So we're going to kind of tailor it to that, where you have a lot of these knocks. I like the how we're seeing the isos of the chest, how we're seeing some of the some of the footwork involved on it. I really like how we take our arms, creating these nice folded over box-like choices in front of the body. And I like the animalistic claw-like hand too. Ending up, I think we're doing a little pony coming out of it too, aren't we? She goes talking too. They bring it back. So this, like this here, I've seen that in dance hall. So I'm not going to say that that's what it is, but I've seen this progression there. We're just seeing that movement, and then they take the wrists, they rotate it around, and then we have the arms. We end up hinging from one side to another, having this just frame going on right here in the lower body. And notice, that's the upper body. Having the elbows also not placed too far out. Really cool. Into a pony there, and then you have this, which is cool. So we've slapped that arm down, causing this leg to prop up and letting the body go a little bit more legato and using the same move to transition and move to a new spot. Love that. Not only that, we're having this, and then you have 10. He's being polyrhythmic because he is incorporating more things, more mannerisms to keep him the focus, even though he's doing the same thing as everybody else. It's really nice, very subtle, but very effective. So right here, we kick it down. Notice that he kicks and then he swings the second leg. They're very similar but different because even though the height's the same, where they stop and start are different points and placements. And I liked from there, we have our arms folded over and then having them join back in. And then we have these little flicks with our dancers. It did feel like we were entertaining a subtle network, which is this move. I mean, you can't see it because you only see like half my body, but I like that. But how our hands are flicking complements what 10 was doing up at the top, right? So he says, he brings his arms through, he pulls it out of the way firstly, and then everybody else goes to reset in more of a column. You have our two ladies in the back. They are facing us and they go away. I like the mouth store. I know what to say. We go and we take our arm, folding it over the head and placing over the mouth. Really cool. Taking it high, low. The kick over it definitely turns into a little rockaway influence movement. That's more in the old school hip hop realm, but I like the shoulders being used in those choices. The chest and shoulders help promote grooving. I love watching a groove. It really helps make it look more natural because you can't do a lot of styles without groove. It's not going to look organic. It's not going to look authentic. So I really like seeing that presented here. So he takes the arms up. Sorry, he presents out and he turns. I like that the ladies, boom, they stop, and I like the hip placing a little bit further out. It makes this torso look longer, and it's taking up more of the space. And I also think, as a side note, SM does a pretty decent job shooting moving versions of their dance practices. That's why it doesn't bother me when I do see one, because it does feel like that's part of the art of it too. So I like the knock knock right there with the elbows. I also like how he took his sequence and it was very similar to what the girls did, but he did his own variant of it. So you could see that it's very complementary to the section that just happened. And he melts the body roll over. Notice when he did a body roll, the ladies did their head and then they're about to go into a head ISO that is controlled by him. I like the dancers coming out from the back. Then from there, involving the dancer again, but this time in a different way. He takes his arm over. The dancer now takes control, takes her arm up and over, causes his head to move. There's a little finger. Yay for a good old cute nail to help make it all the vibes. And then I like that we have our hand placed over the ear with our really nice positioning of the hand. There's a lot of these foldovers that are effective with framing, right? It doesn't make the frames look out of place when we're choosing to do them, which is what you see from our guys on the sides. Really cool. We melt into it. I love that. Come on. We see that. I like the marching coming out of it. I like the extra broom, broom, these interruptions from our dancers on the sides before they drop low. And then we have Ted now coming to the shot. He says, hello, melt out of it. Come on, speed change. Notice that everybody is making different directions. They're mirrored, meaning that if I put a mirror in the middle of the room, you have the dancers over here on whatever side in the same kind of depth. The dancer over here is reflecting it. It's a reflection, which is what helps promote symmetry and balance in an overall composition, which is what we normally strive for on routines like this. So that looks really nice. Having them all speed change in that allowed for 10 to kind of do whatever he wants, and we can see him kind of do his own thing. Love that. He pulls it, and now we have a little trio joining in. And there's that little slow. We do a little wrist rotation, taking our arms, traveling them down. Now moving from the rotation. That rotation is something we're familiar with. It delegates from the wrist to the chest. So I think that's really cool. And I'm doing a little toe tap out of it. Then we switch over, hit, hit, hit with the shoulders and the chest, more so chest than anything, but the shoulders help complement. And I like that whatever else is happening post that, the dancers in the back are complementing but hinged over. So you can see it, but it's a little bit different. And then they're traveling over to the stage. I think everyone's, they're going, and one of our dancers is going in opposition, but everybody else is staying over to the stage right side. They end up taking their the legs out, and then they're placing their energy and shifting it over to the stage left side. That little boom, 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 really cool. So we hit doom, 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 recognizes that bass, how that's come into play. And I like that he creates this more of a stop motion effect. I'm not going to give him strobing, not going to give him ticking. I'm just going to call it more interruption. And I think that's fine. But I like how he pulls and it causes the dancers to go in opposition to help make 10 still stay that focus. It's all about how creatively can we make 10 remain our focus without just having him in center in front the whole time. Because that can even become a little bit plateau and we're like, oh, we want to see 10 interact with the dancers more. This is pretty decent in reflecting that. So from here, he takes it slow. So I like the head ISO. And then he takes his arms up and over as well. Then it's a nice little add-on, just a flick, 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 where they're raising right there on the hinge. And you have two of our dancers come from the back, more entering in. He takes it over. Now, I do have one note for this. I personally wish he did not reverse this when there's nothing there. I think we could have done something. It goes, da, we hold it, let him sing, and then do a really quick reversal back. But that's just a choreographic preference. They don't have to do that. I mean, it still looks cool. But that's the one takeaway from this section that is more wishful thinking. I wish that we actually held it because there's nothing there outside of his vocals, right? So they knock it, 1, 3, and then he hits it over. Oh, just freezing there. And then they all come up. Like, there's nothing there for that reset to land on. So that's why I'm like, it kind of feels we're just doing movement to get reset to a more comfortable posture for our next movement. Because even here, we're hitting this. We could have swivel here. We could have bounced it, honestly, there, and then use the hinge to get back up. So even looking at the context of what we did after this rotation or after this, before that reset, I think we could have entertained a particular, more creative option in this one moment. But this is really the only section in the entire choreography out of both routines that I feel like it could have been, we could have explored something slightly different to get a result that still matched your music, but also it still looks mighty fine regardless. It's literally 2 seconds. It's not ruining the routine whatsoever. But I like they hinge it around. He lifts his arms on that. Then everybody is doing really good on a speed change on this where they're melting through a nice wave. He is up, makes it look like he's controlling them here, which is really cool. And then they end up bridging it to the outside. He goes and resets center. Nice little kick there. I'm not going to call it a sidewalk or anything like that, but just the kick is nice and it helps introduce that bass, that pulse that's going into this pre-chorus, right? Which is nice. The big fullness from our dancers, boom, boom, pushing forward. And I like that they all go to the inside. I like the 10 is letting it happen. It's kind of like he's like, I'm letting them out, letting them go wild. It's kind of cool. They go to the inside here. The head nod's cool. Dee, 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 dee. And they slowly reset. Same thing as before, which is nice, but now it's unison in comparison to break off with just your girls and then just your guys, right? It's nice. There's your reverb. And then he goes, what you do, bring it back. They hit with a kick. Switch off and talking too. Notice even this arm here, it goes hit and hit versus letting it go from one side to another, which is nice. It's same chorus, but it feels different because of how it's structured with how many dancers are doing it, who's in front, and we're creating more of a semicircle around him in comparison to him being a point. It's really nice. Then I like that we're letting the chest happen and it goes talking too. The kick is nice. Also keep in mind, because it's a moving dance practice, the camera person also has the opportunity of framing it and making it look however they want to. So that's why a lot of these are not going to feel the exact same. And sometimes you can overlook whether or not it feels the same because it's moving. It's a moving shot. It's not going to be the exact same shot every time. So it's kind of cool. I like the speed change there, the switch there, and this is the tiniest little zigzag wave out of that, which is really cool. Bring it to the front, then he takes the arms over, click, click, and then we're getting set up in our little outro. There's the hands. I think that was the hand that went really in your face. That was really fun. It was cool. And then they hits it, and there's your vibration. That was cool from 10, and I like how he hits it from the outside and rotates around, and it started not at typical points of a circle circle, where normally you have it from one person and it just goes around in order. Here, the answer, yes, they are going in order, but we're starting at 2 points versus 1, and it doesn't start like just in the back and in the front, but in like the corners. So that was really cool, traveling it through. And then he waves through it looks like, right? So I like that little setup there. Do. That looked so freaking cool in the music video, and I love that they put that there, and I like that we get to see it here. It's not as clear here. It could be because of the camera shot, but he knocks it down up. There's your head ISO, so it goes hit, and then we go head down. So it's going the side, and it's still the same concept, but it's a different part of the neck and the chest and the head. I mean, so yeah, just that whole sector, you're dealing with different areas of the neck. Your neck is conditioned to move in certain ways based on your cultural experience, and so this could be very difficult for you, and in other people it could feel more familiar. So that's what I really find interesting about this, is that it is a head ISO in two different forms of it. It's cool. And then we bring it over, and then it looks like our dancers in the back, their arms are up, so it kind of looks like they're the ones pulling everybody else, even when they're not. I like that they switch it over to the side, and then you have everybody's lower half is the same and their torsos, but the arms are different, so that's why it feels different. And the dancers, 2 of the dancers in 10, they're lifting the neck back too. That makes it feel like a sense of surrender because the chest is leading, whereas my other guys, that arm and that shoulder's leading. So those little differences are really cool. They say, okay, network out of it's what it gave impression wise there with the arms, which is nice. And then this little hang is cool. The accent is nice. So all the really cool parts about this particular choreography, a lot of them were in the music video, and I do appreciate that. Post-production has good taste. So the pulse on that, press from one side to another. It's nice, so it goes press, and then we reset, and then we have a diagonal of ladies and a diagonal of guys, which is cool. Arm, and we travel it around. Speed change, he does a very subtle hand over to the side, then they all drop a level, so that was really cool. They bring it up and around. Oh. Then, no basket run. They could have basket runned it, but I'm glad they didn't. But they're doing on tempo a march with the arm swings. Come on now. Bite. Then we all do our own thing. Boom, boom, jump, jump, jump. And they all create a nice legato, pull back legato, meaning smooth to their spot here. This is so fun. So you have a head ISO, and he's taking his arms and he's folding them over with head ISOs on that, which is nice. And then we pull it around. Technically, he did like a really nice gimmicky windows. It's just cute. And then he goes talking too. He grabs his throat. Really cool. And then we bring it over. Nice little, what is it? Like a pony, but separated. It's nice. Take the arm, toss it. All that there, boom, it's like toe taps, like a lotus that you'd see in house, but not like a full one, but the toe tap's really nice with these tosses. Then we bring it forward, and we uppercut, and then we go up to the ear. Come on. And I like that. Was so fun. He goes slap, and this is where that little Amapiano flavor, meaning movement context that we do see in Amapiano, this breakdown imniki vibe, right? He goes toss, and there's like this groundedness about these slaps and the fullness of the legs, and then he travels it up in isolation to the top. It's really cool. Then they go boom, boom, pulse, pulse, bounce out of it. He switches, hit. They take the arms, they go up and down. And then we end up having my 2 other people go and they join in those back corners. So I like the break-offs, or I like these little add-ons from people, more popcorn, so more randomized. It was really nice. Then we have our arms. We do a nice exit wave on both sides, and then we drop and make our wrists a little bit more lanky. It's cool. And then we have some subtlety there. We lift over. Then we go switch with on a ta. On the sound, we go hip switch, and then we do some subtlety. It's like we're pulling and pulling. So we have our chest moving in one particular plane, and then we have our, where it's positioned normally, you see it not quite structured in that angle. So that was nice there, and I like the bounce on it. Then we bounce, hit, so we're building up the energy there. We go low, high, and then we switch, and then that movement there we've seen twice already. So having that there, notice it's not at the beginning, it's right here near the end, so it feels more like a conclusive thought, which is really nice. We appreciate that. We go talking too, and we swing the arms around. Love the fullness on it. It looks like stretch. Fun. And we end up taking our arms through, hit, and he signals, and they all take the arms, boom, and invert to a W, and they do a head ISO to finish, and he has his arm to help control at the end. That was awesome. So it does give the impression, with a smile, cute, where the dancers had a sense of control over 10, and at the end 10 had control over them. So it kind of turned, we're reminiscent of Nightwalker, right? Wow, this was fantastic. I love being able to look at artists like 10 who really want to push themselves in exploring different areas of movement, because I think that just makes you a better artist for it, and it helps you be able to express yourself in the various emotions and tones of your life in really cool ways on musicality, meaning the movement and music connection, and through just the overall composition of what they choose to show. You guys know me, I know you. I'm Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.